5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Lab testing on animals has long been a subject of debate across societies. While some argue that it is necessary for scientific progress and medical breakthroughs, there is a growing recognition that such practices are deeply inhumane. Animals, like humans, experience pain, fear, and suffering. They have nervous systems, emotions, and social behaviors. Subjecting them to painful procedures, confinement, and even death in the name of research raises serious ethical concerns. The belief that animals are inferior or that their suffering is acceptable if it serves human interests reflects a dangerous and outdated way of thinking. In truth, animal testing is not just a moral issue, it is also a matter of scientific responsibility and human dignity. Animals used in laboratories are subjected to a wide range of experiments, many of which involve pain, distress, and long-term suffering. They are injected with toxic chemicals, force-fed substances, burned, blinded, mutilated, and killed. Often, they are kept in small cages, without any stimulation or interaction, leading to extreme psychological trauma. These animals cannot escape, cannot consent, and cannot express their pain in words. Their suffering is silent, hidden behind the walls of laboratories and research facilities. When we choose to ignore this suffering because it is not visible to us, we become complicit in a system that values profit and convenience over compassion and justice. The argument that animal testing is necessary for medical progress is often repeated, but it fails to acknowledge the advancements in modern science that now offer better, more accurate, and more human alternatives. Today, scientists have developed computer models, artificial organs, and cell-based testing methods that can predict human reactions more accurately than animal trials. Human biology is complex, and animals do not always react to substances in the same way humans do. In fact, many drugs that pass animal testing later fail in human trials, and some even cause harm. This shows that relying on animal testing is not only cruel but also unreliable and outdated. The continued use of animals in labs often reflects habit and resistance to change rather than genuine necessity. Furthermore, the moral problem with animal testing cannot be ignored. Animals may not speak our language, but they are sentient beings capable of feeling pain, forming relationships, and experiencing distress. They cry out when they are hurt, avoid situations that cause fear, and show affection toward those who treat them kindly. To use them as tools, to treat their bodies as objects for manipulation, is to deny their right to exist with dignity. Ethical progress in any society must include the recognition of the rights and welfare of all living beings. If causing unnecessary suffering to a human is unacceptable, then doing the same to an animal should be equally condemned. Supporters of animal testing sometimes argue that it is a necessary evil, suggesting that the benefits to humanity outweigh the suffering of animals. However, this way of thinking assumes that the end always justifies the means. History has shown that when this belief is applied without limits, it leads to dangerous consequences. Just because a practice may bring benefit to some does not mean it is morally right. Compassion, respect for life, and empathy should guide our actions. No creature should have to endure pain so that another may live comfortably, especially when alternative methods are available. Another disturbing aspect of animal testing is the fact that it often takes place with little transparency or public knowledge. Many people are unaware of what happens behind closed doors. Laboratories do not openly share the conditions in which animals are kept or the methods used in experiments. This lack of openness allows cruelty to continue unchecked. If these practices were made visible, many people would be horrified. The silence surrounding animal testing protects those who conduct it, but it does not protect the victims. It is the duty of society to demand openness, accountability, and a shift toward kinder practices. Some might argue that animals are not equal to humans and therefore do not deserve the same rights. However, recognizing that animals are not the same as humans does not mean their suffering matters less. Differences in species should not be the basis for moral exclusion. Just as we condemn cruelty to children, the elderly, or those with disabilities, we must also stand against cruelty to animals. Kindness should not depend on similarity. It should arise from the understanding that all beings suffer and that suffering, wherever it exists, must be addressed. There are also psychological consequences for the humans involved in animal testing. Researchers and laboratory workers often report emotional distress, guilt, and desensitization. Working in an environment where suffering is routine can dull empathy and weaken moral values. This emotional burden is rarely discussed but must be considered. A compassionate society must also care for the well-being of those who are asked to carry out such painful tasks. Encouraging non-animal testing not only helps animals, but also protects the emotional and ethical integrity of humans. Change is possible, but it requires effort and will. Governments, research institutions, and industries must invest in alternative methods and phase out animal testing. Laws must be strengthened to protect animals from unnecessary harm. Public awareness campaigns should be launched to educate people about the realities of animal testing and the alternatives available. Each individual can contribute by choosing cruelty-free products, supporting ethical research, and speaking out against inhumane practices. The power of change lies in collective action, guided by empathy and informed by truth. As human beings, we have the capacity to reason, to care, and to act with kindness. That is what separates us from other species, and it is also what gives us the responsibility to protect those who cannot protect themselves. By rejecting animal testing and embracing humane alternatives, we affirm our commitment to a more ethical and compassionate world. The measure of our progress is not how much we can dominate others, but how gently we can walk among them. Stop.